Coming up on Dig It.
Harry Styles is an incredible artist. His evolution has been stunning. I have been at a gym when people are working out and you're like, I can see everything.
Oh, God. I mean, you don't want camel toe with your leggings. There's just something about men lifting absurd weight. Will you not make that goddamn sex noise?
Mum, I've just found a pregnancy test in the pocket of the dog walking coat. And I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. I'm having a baby. And she was like, Mum!
Oh, my God.
All of that right after this.
Dig It is sponsored by Ancient and Brave.
So I've decided this January is not about being good. It's about having enough energy to actually live my life. Less rushing, less work, and more time to actually enjoy the people I love.
I did exactly the same last year and I can't recommend it enough, Jo. But this means you will need energy that lasts, not the kind that disappears halfway through the week.
Exactly. And that's why I've added Ancient and Brave's True Creatine Plus into my routine. It supports strength, cognition and energy without feeling intense or extreme.
And it's easy to use, which matters. It's neutral tasting, dissolves completely, and you're done.
What sets Ancient and Brave apart isn't just their award-winning products, it's their commitment to sustainability. They're a B Corp and proud members of 1% for the Planet, meaning that 1% of all their sales goes directly to environmental causes that protect our planet.
It's good for you and the planet.
If you're rethinking resolutions this January, you can subscribe and save 20% on your monthly wellness rituals. Go to ancientandbrave.earth/planet.
And when you subscribe, you'll receive a free ritual scoop as a thank you. Again, that's subscribe and save 20% at ancientandbrave.earth/planet.
Hi Zoe, welcome to Dig It. Looking radiant as ever. How are you doing?
Do you know what? I don't feel radiant. I feel so tired.
Oh.
Do you know what it's like the song, January, sick and tired, you've been hanging on me. How is it still January? I feel like January is 6 weeks, possibly 6 months. I keep looking at the diary going, when is February? When is it coming? I need some hope now, Jo. I'm through with January. I need it to be over.
We were in the kitchen last night and Cass just turned around to everybody and he went, hey guys, it's nearly February. And we all cheered. It's like, this has been the grimmest, greyest, most miserable January I can ever remember.
I've touched base with lots of friends and lots of friends have really had January blues. I know we touched on it last week. But anyway, February is coming.
I actually spent my weekend, quite a lot of my weekend, with my mum and dad, my parents. My sister had gone home for the weekend. And when you're in your 80s and your disabled daughter, who's 57, I think she is now, comes home for the weekend, you need a little bit of assistance. So I was going over there and hanging out with them. And we took Frances to the garden centre. Disco and I went there and we took Frances and we had an all-day breakfast at 3 p.m. on the Sunday. And, every table had a collection of people. A lot of them were older.
Yeah.
And they were out there. There was a guy who'd got dementia, came over and his wife was apologising in the background because he had dementia. But actually he was talking to Frances, my sister, and they were having a great conversation. And I was like, no, it's fine. But I think they really genuinely provide an amazing service for people who don't really know where to go. There's not many places to hang out, is there? They don't rush you out. They just go, come and have a cup of tea, have some toast. If you want to stay, that's fine. If you want to buy a gnome, great.
Weekend days are so popular in the garden centre because you pull in. If you don't get there early, the car park is absolutely rammed. And it's lovely. You have a mooch, you look at the plants, and then you can have a lovely meal. And you're right, the restaurants and the cafes in garden centres are such a lovely place to just sit and hang out. Lots of people go there for a Sunday lunch. They're usually quite good, value for money as well.
Yeah.
I used to go with my mum on a Sunday to the garden centre. And I do miss that now when I go on my own. I'm like, I might go and join someone else's family and have a little mooch. Funnily enough, none of my gang are really that bothered about coming to the garden centre with me. Obviously,
weird that,
a place that I spend an awful lot of time. Sometimes I have to ban myself from going to the garden centre for a while because there's no room for any more plants. But I've got to go this week because I need more mulch, Jo.
Oh, were the 2 bags not enough?
The 2 bags didn't go very far at all. Oh,
No.
Did you have a lovely time with your mum, dad and Francis though? Brilliant.
Yeah, with Francis, Steve and I had a hilarious time and it was really lovely. I just thought it was so nice that we weren't rushed out of the garden centre cafe and there were lots of other people who were there for the exact same reason because they didn't know where else to go and it was lovely to be there. But then on the way home, Francis always likes a disco in the car, and we obliged. So I was driving and Steve was in the back being Disco Steve and he started playing all these throwbacks and it goes right back to our childhood. So we were dancing to The Goodies and Funky Gibbon. Remember that one?
Gibbon, that was a huge
Funky
hit.
Gibbon. Do the Funky Gibbon. She loved that. She knew every single word. We got onto Scaffold and Lily the Pink. Literally within the first note of that happening, the words are a bit dodgy actually. We were listening to the lyrics going, I don't think so, not in this day and age.
I know Terry Wogan used to play that back in the day. I don't think we could play it anymore, could we? I think I might have been on the radio saying to the team, can we play Lily the Pink? And someone saying, really not suitable anymore. Yeah. So, no, those days are gone.
No. If you're loving Diggits, please hit follow or subscribe wherever you watch or listen. That way you get new episodes delivered directly and never miss a moment. What a great week last week was for music. It was such an exciting time. Look at our sweatshirts. Can we just show our sweatshirts?
We are in our Harry Styles inspired sweatshirts because he dropped a new track. Your one says
disco occasionally. And yours?
Kiss all the time.
Electric Eye Embroidery, Alyssa from Electric Eye Embroidery, who does these amazing T-shirts and sweatshirts with band and song titles, band names, mainly song titles and song phrases, words, lyrics. She's great, isn't she?
She's so great. Alyssa, we love you to bits. She's quite an inspiring lady. She's had a tough time of it. We're sending loads of love to her and her amazing husband and her little one, Maggie. So, new music from Harry Styles. You were saying how amazing the video is, Jo.
Oh my God, the video is so good. I got completely obsessed with it last night watching it. It starts off with Harry in a room and it's very, very ordinary. And then he just leaves his hotel room and then he goes on a walk and he's followed by this guy who's very dark and very scary. And then he starts to chase him and then they break out into dance. And the dance routine you will love. It's mesmerizing. It's just so cool. Like synchronized dancing and just flicking the wrists. And it's probably got a technical term, but I was just mesmerized. Then I looked into it further and it's taken from David Bowie. And a video that he did, which is I'm Afraid of Americans. And he has this dark stranger behind him who's brooding, who starts to chase him. And it's actually Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. And they're very similar. So Harry Styles has obviously taken inspiration from David Bowie because he's a big fan. And that particular video, it's worth watching both of those videos. David Bowie doesn't dance, they just kind of fight.
Do you know, the thing that amazes me with this as well is that video just dropped last week. There are people online who have already taught themselves the dance routine. It's amazing.
I know.
The bits that they can reenact, because there's stunts and all sorts of things, and Harry sort of flies through the air and stuff. But there are people who have learned that dance routine already. I'm like, wow, people are incredible. But it was such an exciting week for music because you had Harry Styles dropping his record. We had Arctic Monkeys dropping their record from the War Child album, which is fabulous, which we love. And it was interesting to see that both Harry and Arctic Monkeys albums have flown back up the album charts, which I looked at for the first time yesterday, having not looked at the album charts for years. I was like, I'm actually quite interested to see what's going on in the album charts. And full respect to Sleaford Mods, who are currently at number 6. I think they're one of the only bands, apart from Fleetwood Mac and ABBA, that feature in the top 40 at the moment. It's mainly solo artists like A$AP Rocky and Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor, obviously, and everyone. And Olivia Dean, who we love. And also Jessie Ware.
Yep, new music from her.
Brought out a new single, which is amazing. It's very Minnie Riperton inspired, and I'm fingers crossed that there's an album coming.
Oh, there is, yeah.
There is.
Yeah, I'm talking to her this week. I'm really excited.
I absolutely love Jessie.
And Arctic Monkeys, I've got my whatever people say, and that's what I'm not. Because it was 20 years ago that album came out. Got the vinyl here. So many. That's the album that's got Mardy Bum on it. So many great, great songs. So the fact that they brought their single out for the Help album last week, and it was also celebrating 20 years of that first debut album, which is just one of the best debut albums ever to have come out. Oh. It was just perfect. Perfect timing. Took me back so much. Reminded me of the Brits, because obviously we've had the nominations coming up, and the Arctic Monkeys have had a lot of fun at the Brits in the past. Do you remember
with
the time?
you, I believe, as well.
Remember the time when they turned up as farmers?
Yes.
To accept their role?
Completely
I remember them
banjaxed.
Oh my God, absolutely. I remember them walking into the room, I think it was the O2, and everyone just going, oh, that looks like Alex Turner, but he's a farmer. What? Oh, it is Alex Turner dressed as a farmer, and Matt Helders and Jamie. And just hilarious. But that's when the Brits was kind of a little bit left of centre, and everyone had a lot of fun with the whole ceremony, didn't they?
It was always the best night out, wasn't it, going to the Brits? You never knew who you were going to run into or what was going to happen. And it's because the nominations came out last week, we've both been doing a little nostalgic deep dive and finding, I just went online and went Brits, Zoe Ball. It's not often I search myself, can I just say? And there are things that come up and I have absolutely zero recollection. There's me and Sarah and Davina in one clip here. There's a lovely clip with me and Robbie. And I hosted the Brits with Frank Skinner.
I didn't know that.
It wasn't a golden year. We weren't brilliant. I don't think we were quite Mick, Fleetwood, Sam Fox level. So I think we kind of got away with it. Sort of, possibly.
Do you have any memories of that year? Who won? Who were the big winners?
I remember Frank doing some terrible jokes and thinking, oh my God, he said some things that I think Frank would definitely regret now.
Yeah.
But Frank and I just had a lovely time. And all I remember is my friend Fee made my outfit, and she used to make Kylie Minogue's outfit. She made Kylie's fantastic La La La, what's that one? Can't Get You Out of My Head.
That's one.
And Fee had made my outfit. And I remember my mates sitting on the table just in front of where we were standing, and I just thought, deliver it all to them. Forget the room. It's a hard room to work, isn't it, when you're hosting that room? Because
it's surreal.
Everybody's just drunk and not really that interested in what's going on stage. So thank goodness Jack Whitehall is in charge again this year. He's always so brilliant because he is not afraid to take the mickey out of everyone, and he's always so good at that. I think when he goes away and other people try and take over, it's like, please bring back Jack, because he's so good. Some of your memories from Brits gone by?
Oh, God. Was someone unearthed? Not memories, but things I was reminded of when people showed me the clips. I presented Amy Winehouse with Best Female, which was wonderful because she was, absolutely the right person to have won that. Very, very cool. I presented Take That with an award, which I can't remember, but I am wearing the worst outfit in the world ever. I've got this kind of satin, I think chartreuse, like lime green, hideous shirt on and bright red lipstick. What I thought was funny when we were looking at our photographs was the evolution of how we've changed. Because when we first started going to the Brits, there was no makeup artist. I didn't ever pencil in my eyebrows. I had no clue. There's a really funny photograph. I found a photograph of Noel Gallagher, who was so drunk. He went to the Brits and there was an after show party, and he'd stole this massive shoe that was on display. I don't know where it was on display, but he clutched it like a teddy bear that he'd won at the fair, and he walked around the whole night and he wouldn't put it down at all.
That is a great memory. I remember going to the Brits just after we'd got engaged, and that was quite a sort of furore, and then Norm won something fabulous, and we would with a big crew, and I just remember hanging out with random people, but losing Norman for ages, and he was under a table with Graham Norton for about 2 hours, just laughing, rolling around, getting very drunk and laughing. We're like, has anyone seen Norm? Like, you're right down there, lads. But the parties were always really fun, weren't they? And the backstage. But I love the fact that both of us have I have such little recollection. There's a video of me interviewing the Spice Girls backstage. I'm like, wow, I look amazing. And I have absolutely no recollection of that whatsoever. But we did have a good time. Will you go this year?
Do you know what? I would like to go this year because I think the nominations are so good. I think the artists who are going to be there, and I think there's some quite fun people. So whereas it's very sanitized and people have kind of been behaving themselves lately, I think there might be some mischief going on this year.
It can be a bit beige sometimes, can't it? There'd be years recently, where you're like, oh, someone just have some fun, for goodness sake. Yeah. Stop being so professional.
Lily Allen. Lily is up for Album of the Year.
She is.
God, I would love to see West End Girl win the album, and I'd love to see her acceptance
speech.
She
must be in with a strong chance for that, surely. I mean, it must be the most talked about album of the year last year, isn't it? On a popularity, on a shocking kind of, on a wow, look what she did there.
Yeah.
Surely it's got to have a strong chance.
Group of the Year. This is out of Last Dinner Party, Pape, Also, Sleep Token, who I do not know, Wet Leg and Wolf Alice.
Whew, how'd you choose between that gang?
I'd say Pulp and Wolf Alice.
I managed to get my Wolf Alice tickets. Finally going to see them. Yes.
Ellie from Wolf Alice is doing backing vocals on the Harry Styles song.
She is.
Fact fans.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
In fact, at any moment, Joe, I am going to have to go online because I have a code to get Harry Styles tickets.
Seriously?
For Wembley for Nellie and I, because last time she went to see him with her dad and I didn't get to go and I really want to go. Isn't he looking great, by the way, at the moment?
Yeah.
I watched all the interviews he did last week. He looks so happy. He looks really relaxed. He looks excited about stuff. He's such a gem. I'm really excited about him being back.
Harry Styles is an incredible artist. Like his evolution has been stunning. And I was reading about his manager who was talking about what a joy he is to work with him. He described him as a unicorn. And I thought, that's such a great description, how he's always hungry and wants to be excited by what he does. And he will say no to nothing. Like when it comes to clothes, he'll wear the most outrageous clothes. He just wants to play with all the artistry there is out there. And that's what makes him like head and shoulders above anybody else out there at the moment. He's just phenomenal and so much respect. The people he chooses to work with, he's such a wise musician, wise artist.
He grew up very young, didn't he, with everything. And we've seen how that can go for people, all that pressure. But he is so smart and clever and wonderful. The other thing I adore about him is how he, when people stop him and say, will you do a video for someone? Or, he parallel parked someone's car. He's such a sweetheart. When he was talking to Greg James last week, Greg James was listing all the things that he'd done in the time that he'd been sort of stepping back. And he was saying, he spent some time in going clubbing in Berlin and, all-nighters and hanging out in Rome and just seeing a bit of the world and having a gap year, lots of people have been saying. But he's just... he's gone to weddings with people, hasn't he? He's
run a couple of marathons. Like he just casually turns up and does marathons.
In a really incredible time, like sub 3 hours. What a chap. Anyway, we're in our matching T-shirts. I'll let you know if I manage to get the tickets.
As we've been talking, I'm just having more memories of the Brits. I remember there was one Brits that I went to and there was a really unfortunate photograph of me coming out of the Brits and getting into a cab. And this was in the days when you had the paparazzi and those photographers who would chase you everywhere.
Oh, God.
And you get into a car and they would just take photographs like to the last second and then they'd take photographs through the window as well. But yeah, there's this awful photograph of me and my skirt is just a little bit too short. And so you can actually see my knickers, which is a horrible thing to see in the papers, I think it was. It wasn't even online.
Oh, gosh. So, Joe Whiley, will you go this year?
We should both go. We should go as diggers.
Should we go as
a couple of old diggers going to the Brits.
We'll dress in gardening gear, like the Arctic Monkeys. A nod to the Arctic Monkeys and gardeners.
Oh, my God. We could wear dungarees to the Brits.
You look really good in dungarees, Joe. I have tried so hard with dungarees. I have a very long body. And dungarees, they just come to here and I look really wide in them. So I'll come with you, but I won't be wearing dungarees.
God, we're talking about the Brits. I've just remembered a story, something that happened. So, year was 2008. Coco was born in 2008. I was on my way to the Brits. So the Brits were in February of that year. I was in a car with Disco Steve. I get a phone call from India, who at the time was 16, 17. And she was like, oh, you're on your way to the Brits? And I went, yeah, I am, yeah. And what are you doing? And she went, oh, I've just taken the dogs for a walk. I went, yeah. Mum, I just found something in the coat pocket. I was like, oh yeah, what is it? I'm nearly at the red carpet, Indy. What is it? I've got to get out of the car. Mum, I've just found a pregnancy test in the pocket of the dog walking coat. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm pregnant. I'm having a baby. And she was like, Mum, I've got to get out, Indy. I've got to go to the red carpet now with the Arctic Monkeys. They're there waiting for me.
Oh my God, your poor daughter. This is how she found out.
Honestly, it was horrendous. God. I was getting messages all the time from her just going, I can't believe, A, you've had sex. B, you're having a baby. C, you left the pregnancy test in the coat pocket. D, you haven't told me yet. It was like a bomb went off. It was awful.
Oh my God.
The whole night was just like literally me feeling terrible.
That's a proper EastEnders doof, 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 isn't it?
Oh my.
And we pick up the next episode. There you are. Yes. Chatting to the Arctic Monkeys, frantically trying to tell her that you're sorry. I mean, what a memory.
If people knew the backstory of stuff that was going on in people's lives, when you see the photographs, it's like, no, the reality is my daughter wants to kill me. She was so angry that I'd left the pregnancy test in the dog walking coat.
Why was it in your coat pocket? Had you weed on the stick on a dog walk?
I don't know. I think I was desperately trying to hide it. And I thought, where is the one place that she won't find it? She never takes the dog for a walk. I'm going to put it in the pocket of the coat. And what are the chances of her taking the dog for a walk and wearing the same coat?
Do you know what? When I was going through all my nostalgia stuff, trying to find pictures of the Brits and just realising that in the 90s, I took so many terrible photographs. Thank God we have iPhones now, that most photographs we take are pretty good, because the standard of photographs in the 90s was generally terrible. But I found my pregnancy tests from both my kids and I'd kept them.
Oh.
And of course now they're just like crusty old bits of plastic. I was thinking, who wants this? No one. But I thought it was quite sweet that I'd kept them.
It's very cute.
I know.
It's really cute.
And I've got both my kids, you know, like their umbilical cords. Whoa.
Yeah,
and
same.
I did say to them, do you want these? They're like, that is disgusting. Why would I want that?
It's literally a scab. I don't want my scab.
I
Thank
don't
you.
need that. But the things we keep, bless.
I think on that note, we'll take a quick break, shall we?
I think we should. I'm just remembering when Scott Mills had to do the breakfast show because I didn't go in after the Brits. Sorry, Scott. Bless him. If you'd like these episodes ad-free, become a subscriber to The Potting Shed.
You'll get ad-free and early episodes.
But most importantly, you'll be supporting the show.
To subscribe, head to digipod.co.uk or tap the link in the show notes. I've just wondered what you were thinking about the ban in Australia, about social media ban in Australia that is now quite a real proposition in this country.
Yeah, I've had some good chats with Nell about this over the weekend, because this is the idea that social media will be banned for under 16s. And I definitely believe that something needs to be done. You know, we're seeing the effects that social media can have, and in extremes, there have been some really tragic stories. And I had a really good chat with Nell about it. And she said, do you know what? Yes, I think something needs to happen because it's so tricky to monitor. And it sort of needs to come from both sides a little bit, doesn't it? That, you know, the social media companies need to be more involved and take more responsibility for the stuff that they're presenting. Yeah. But she did say that actually, that she thinks this is a good idea, but actually to a certain age, perhaps. She was saying, what about, 14? Because the problem now for young people, a lot of young people do communicate with their friends through social media. So it's sort of like, is there a way to redesign? Is there a way to have platforms that young people can still communicate with their friends? Because a lot of people, might not talk to people in school, but when they get home, Woody used to play Club Penguin and he would talk to his mates through Club Penguin. And that's a bit of social time and that's friendship groups and stuff. So it's like, is a complete ban for under 16, is that extreme? Is that the right age? There needs to be better policing, perhaps, of social media, I definitely think. And Nell also said that she feels there should be better support and helplines for people who are young, who find themselves in these terrible situations where they're being blackmailed or they're having a terrible time on social media and they're too scared to talk to a parent or a loved one. So, this is a huge conversation. And I'm really glad that the government are tackling it.
I spoke to Coco about it and I was quite taken aback. She just said, I think it's pointless. And I was like, oh, really? And she said, young people in Australia, just get around it. There are ways to get around it. You can fake facial recognition. You can get onto the apps. It's just impossible and it's just not working. I was like, okay, how do you know this? And of course, she knows it through social media.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh my God. I mean, it's like Pandora's box, isn't it? The lid is off and we're all just running around trying to contain everything. It's really scary as a parent. But I could never in a million years say to Coco, who's now 17, I could not take her phone from her. I couldn't police what she's watching.
Yeah.
But it affects all of us. Since we had Dr. Rangan Chatterjee on the show, Steve watched that at the beginning of the year and he came off all social media because in the book, he actually read the book and Rangan saying that you should not be on social media, you should, try and take yourself away from it. So he has come off TikTok, which he used to watch constantly. I mean, he always had his phone whenever we were out anywhere, or in the evenings, he'd just be on TikTok. It was a joke, family joke. And he's now come off that. Wow. He's done a proper social media detox, and he is feeling so much better for it. He's so much more present. He's on at us all the time to put our phones down, which is obviously quite annoying. But he said he's much clearer, and he just feels much more present, much more in the room and a part of the family, because he's just not having this relationship with TikTok, which he was.
I think mine's probably Instagram. I'm just constantly on it, looking, buying, too much time on my hands. And it is that thing of, can I just physically put it away? Go in the garden, go and do some jobs. I'm quite shocked at how much, so I lecture Nell, and then she'll look at me like, you're on it.
Pot kettle black.
Something does need to be done to keep our young people safe. I really do strongly believe that.
Yeah.
My problem as a parent, and I think there'll be other parents who find it, is just to check Nell's socials. I couldn't get into her phone or figure out how I could see what she was looking at to keep her safe. This is the difficulty for a lot of parents is, the kids are so much more ahead of us in tech that, they can get around all of that. And you ask them, it's like, can I just check what you're looking at? And they're like, no. Of course, I wouldn't have let my parents look.
No, it's like looking at a diary, isn't it?
It's a bit of a minefield here, but I do hope that they can do something.
Yeah.
What the answer is, I'm not quite sure. I'll be interested to know from other diggers what their feeling is on this. Joe, if I said to you see-through gym leggings, would you know what I was talking about?
I would be very, very worried, and I'd think of going up to my drawer that has all my gym kit in, and I'd be looking at it and going, any of you see through? This is relating to a story, isn't it, that's emerged about Lululemon leggings, which I am a massive fan of Lululemon leggings. I've got so many pairs of them. They're the only thing I wear when I run, when I go to the gym. They're so comfortable and they're so soft and smooth and buttery. However, I think there are a pair of leggings which I hope to God I haven't got, which are completely see-through. And apparently they've been banned in America for obvious reasons. Can you imagine?
They don't look see-through. It's just when you put them on, you can see more than you wouldn't realise.
Yes, I'd imagine body contours and certain cracks and things like that suddenly become apparent.
Oh, God. I mean, you don't want camel toe with your leggings. That is a key thing with leggings. Like, if they give you any kind of camel toe, you're like, no, they are going in the bin. And it's a difficult area to protect. But yes, so you don't own any see-through leggings?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I have been at a gym when people are working out and you're like, I can see everything. To coin a phrase, I can see everything. But I'm just going to look over here and pretend I can't see anything at all.
Is that intentional, though?
No, I don't think
is
so.
That like a pulling thing? No?
Oh, I hope not. No, I don't think so. I think people are completely oblivious and they don't realise, because what happens is you wash your leggings quite a lot of times and then the material just wears away and then they become transparent.
Yeah.
And you're, completely without a clue. You're working out, you're doing those leg presses and things like that with your legs apart, and people can see everything.
I know. I quite like the leg press that faces the weights. So, and you're holding on, you sort of squat but you're facing inwards. Because I always think it's just so, it's like assume the position. So there's something about those leg presses that just reminds me of that, where I think I don't want this facing into the middle of the gym where everyone can see. It's just so hitting, pulling my massive t-shirt over my crotch, hoping. I mean, not that anyone's looking, because they're not. They're doing their own thing and they're not checking out an older woman who's sat there, with the legs apart. But be careful where you place those machines, gym owners, please.
I bet there's some diggers, some people who do go to the gym, maybe trainers, maybe personal trainers who listen to the pod, and you might have your own stories, and you can let us know and we can share with everybody else.
Also, can I shout out people who make too much noise? Oh my God, there's just something about men lifting absurd weight that you look at them and think, you are going to have a prolapse, mate, and you have got it coming. And will you not make that goddamn sex noise so loudly, because I've got my music turned up to the point where I'm getting tinnitus, but I can still hear you, and it's quite disturbing. Thank you very much.
If you, by chance, were wearing some leggings that had been washed a lot and they turned transparent, completely naked, you was being exposed to everybody else, would you want people to tell you?
Yes, God damn it, I would. in the same way that if I had left a pair of knickers in the leg of my leggings that had dropped quite far down and I hadn't realised but were hanging out, or possibly creating some kind of varicose vein scenario at the back of my leg, I would want someone to tell me, mate, you got your knickers hanging out. Oh God, thanks. Or you can see through those leggings, or you might just want to adjust the crotch. I would prefer someone to say, yes, please, rather than...
You're not being cruel, you're being kind.
No, you're being kind. You are being kind.
Have you ever had any really bad wardrobe malfunctions or mishaps? Anything ever happened that you've exposed yourself in any way?
Yeah, dress tucked in knickers coming out of toilets. I think I've had that where friends have gone, oi, mate, your dress is tucked up.
Diggers, if you're listening right now, go to our show notes.
Horror
and please
stories.
Share, because there'll be loads of people with horror stories when it comes to wardrobes and malfunctions and mishaps, and we want to hear it and we want to share them with everybody else.
Yes.
So, do your best. Tell us the story yourself as a voice note, and we can play it out and everyone else can hear it.
It's going to be like poo in a handbag, Mark II. Now, although January is like the longest month ever and can be a bit tough weather-wise outside, there's lots of things that can be enjoyed, like Mike the gardener, who has joined us to remind us that the garden is quietly getting on with things, even in the depths of winter.
Hello Joe and Zoe, it's Mike the gardener here again, and I'm taking advantage of one of these days when the sun is actually shining and it's not raining. Now, you might think there's not a lot going on in our gardens at this time of year, but I'm just here to show you that there are a few gems to be looking at. Let me show you. Whilst we've been wrapped up inside in the warm, things are going on in the garden, and over the last week these wonderful snowdrops have just poked through in the garden. Now they look really dainty, but they're actually quite tough and quite resilient. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about how to get the best from your snowdrops. Snowdrops thrive in areas of partial shade with a bit of sunshine and in a free draining, reliably moist soil. Now, in the winter, when they get the sunshine, that's great, but in the summer, they're best grown under deciduous trees and shrubs. I've got mine underneath this spirea here. So in the summer, when the foliage comes out, it keeps the soil nice and cool and the bulbs really happy. The best time to buy snowdrops is when snowdrop season is just beginning to come to an end, and you can buy them in the green, which means you actually buy plants like this where the flowers are just going over. They'll be wrapped up in newspaper and you can buy them online or from your local garden centre. So that's snowdrops in the green as snowdrops come to an end. And it's great because they're really affordable. You can buy hundreds for just 20 quid or so. And once you've got snowdrops in the garden and you have established clumps, as they begin to fade, you can dig them up, divide them and put small clumps elsewhere around the garden in a partially shaded site. You'll have snowdrops everywhere before you know it. So Joe and Zoe, it's definitely worth taking a peek out in the garden at this time of year, especially on a glorious day like today. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
We adore Mike, don't we? He always has the most beautiful flowers in his hat.
Oh, I know. I love it. He's very calm and very knowledgeable, which is what we want from our garden experts.
He's one of my faves. He really is.
I've got quite a lot of snowdrops in the garden that have come out. It's awful. You have to properly make yourself look for these things. Like Mike was just saying, the garden is just getting on with doing its thing. And we're so busy everywhere else and not going out in the cold. It's a really good idea to take time to walk around your garden and acknowledge what is actually there and what is happening. I discovered this amazing plant which has been in the garden now for about 5 or 6 years, and it's one of the first to flower, and it's called a Daphne. I cannot recommend it highly enough, and it's the most beautiful pink, quite an intense dusky raspberry pink, and it smells
amazing, Daphne, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I planted it right close to the patio, and it's been in bloom for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's just so nice. It does its thing and then it just fades away and it gets bigger and bigger every single year. So the Daphne is looking amazing, and also the cyclamen. Got some really gorgeous dusky pink cyclamen just peeking their heads out over the grass and looking gorgeous all around the orchard. It's really, it's beginning. It's
beginning, isn't it? I planted some snowdrops for the first time, but they're in a pot and they're above various other little bulbs, and I'm thinking they're in the wrong spot. So it's good that I've heard Mike talking about it there, because I might need to think about moving them. possibly wait for them to come up this year and see if they do all right, but they possibly are in the wrong spot. So thank you, Mike. And great to know that you can, once they've established themselves, you can move them and you can split them and divide them and you get more plants. I'm really excited at the moment looking at the base of a lot of the plants that I've left in for a bit of winter interest. So the dried out tops of the sedums underneath, they're going crazy growing underneath. There's new life at the bottom of the anemones. There's new life at the bottom of some of the salvias. So you can see that they are all coming back. I've been doing the roses chop. And it's interesting because there's two sides on pruning roses. Some say wait a little bit longer. So I'd like to know from the diggers, when do you prune your roses? Because I have given some of mine a chop, some of them I've left. I'm going to wait and see what happens with those and see which is the right time. I'm just worried that it's suddenly going to get really, really cold again and that I'll have done it too soon.
I think they can take it though.
They can.
I think so. I'm only going by Tabs the gardener, who was out there pruning in like -3 degrees in my garden 2 weeks ago. And she was like, no, it's fine.
It's fine. Good.
Hopefully it's going to be fine. I know I really love cutting when the time is right, doing penstemon and salvias and just taking it right back to where the really healthy shoots are. And there's something incredibly cathartic about it. It feels really good just getting rid of all the stuff that you don't need and just seeing all the new growth and waiting for that to explode in the garden.
Yeah, and don't forget sow and tell. If you are planting, if there are plants in your garden that you're really excited about, like Mike there with the snowdrops, anything that you are growing or that you have grown or things that you're pleased with or your little plots, do get in touch with us. You can find out how in the show notes. And don't forget to sow and tell any fabulous stuff that you are quite proud of or that you're really enjoying. Spread the word.
Okay, should we do some crate digging? Things that we've discovered and we've loved or we are loving at the moment. The thing that I would like to recommend, or is a person that I'd like to recommend, an artist who has won the BRIT's Critics' Choice. So we've been talking about the BRITs, about all the nominations and the artists. And Sienna Spiro, who I mentioned last week, was one of the nominees. But the winner is Jacob Allon, who is the most sensational musician and artist, has the most incredible voice. If you like Jeff Buckley, you will love Jacob Allon. They are such a lovely person, like the sweetest soul, and when they sing, it's wonderful. The album came out last year and you should definitely check it out so that you know when you see Jacob performing at the Brits, you'll know the album and you'll appreciate what an amazing artist they are. And it's called In Limerence. So Jacob Allon, and the album is called In Limerence. That is my offering for crate digging for this week, along with all the, like going back and enjoying Arctic Monkeys and being excited about Jessie Ware. But the one I would want to highlight is Jacob.
I've only recently learnt about what limerence is, because it's something that a lot of ADHD people have. ADHD limerence, I think, is where you're kind of like obsessed with the art, with the actual falling in love and everything that goes with that.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's such an amazing word. So we already talked about the albums, and currently at number 6 in the UK Hit Parade album chart is Sleaford Mods. I absolutely love them. This album is excellent. So that is my offering for crate digging this week, as is Jessie Ware's brand new single, but I haven't got a physical copy of that. But also, I'm loving my cooking. Thank you to John Gregory Smith for sending me the greatest tray bake cookbook ever. You can see
want it.
It's so good. Everything in one pan, which I love. You can see I've used my little Snoopy page markers here, which I'm also in love with, for dreamy, creamy chicken pasta bake, which I've made, which is divine. Also, there is such a delicious, I'll see if I can find it. We love a bit of gnocchi in this house, and this one is absolutely delicious. Crispy gnocchi with burrata and green pesto. Simple recipes.
Ooh, that sounds good.
One pan. John, you're an angel. Thank you for sending me your book.
I think the only thing we ever cook as a family in the evening is a tray bakes, and it's normally cauliflower and it's broccoli and it's peppers and it's courgettes, and it's just all thrown in there, cumin, seasoning, and it goes with absolutely everything. So, but I'm definitely going to get that book.
Yeah, it's good one. It's really good. Some really good veggie stuff in there.
Simplicity is the essence. Can I just show you what, Zoe, I've just remembered this book. I forgot to mention it at Christmas time, and I have to show you because you're the one person in the world I know who will appreciate it. This was my present from Jude, who went and searched out the John Travolta scrapbook.
Oh my Lord.
Look. As a John Travolta fan, both you and me, this is like the dream. There are photographs. There's that lovely smile, the twinkle in the eye. Hang on. him performing at various stages in his career, on stage, on screen. It tells his story, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. An illustrated biography of John Travolta.
The cover picture is amazing.
Right, I'm going to take that to bed with me tonight.
Yes, I bet you are. Bless you.
All right, see you in a couple of days' time.
Yes, I've got to go and find out if we've got the Harry Styles tickets.
Oh, God, good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. See you later. Dig It is a Persephonica production.